United States Marine Band under the direction of President George W. Bush. Well, that certainly didn't go the way we expected this evening. And, of course, the whole political year hasn't gone as the pundits predicted. By Super Tuesday, it was clear this would be a season of surprises. During our network coverage that night, on primary night, I telephoned Craig Ferguson at the Late Late Show studios in California. His take on American elections is unique. He had just been sworn in as a new American citizen. I thought reporters could not ask for a more appropriate voice tonight than a first-time, uncommitted voter. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Ferguson.
If I may borrow a line, sir, my fellow Americans. Mr. President, Mrs. Bush, Mr. Vice President, Mrs. Cheney, honourable justices of the Supreme Court, senators and representatives, brave members of our armed forces, esteemed members of the White House Correspondents Association, other journalists not so esteemed, ambassadors, Hollywood movie stars, Hollywood celebrities, people who are just kind of from Hollywood, the unsung hero of every White House dinner, the C-SPAN camera guy, everybody, the C-SPAN camera guy. You know, in many other areas of America, we've moved from one camera. The one-camera system is no longer in place in other parts of the broadcasting industry, but in C-SPAN, things move a little bit slower. I have to tell you, looking at you tonight, really how beautiful this is to me. You really are, this is like a dream to me. This is like a dream I had. In the dream I wasn't wearing pants, but it's kind of like a dream that I had. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be here tonight. Now, I realize many of you may not share that excitement, given that you have no idea who I am. Well, let me explain. My name is Craig Ferguson. I host a late-night television program for the mighty CBS Corporation. Yes. I'm their middle-of-the-night guy. And I'm kind of basically all they could afford after they finished paying Katie Couric. But really, I'm not kidding you. The reason you're stuck with me tonight, though, is that, look, word has got out amongst the American-born comedians that you're a bit of a tough crowd. This is just another case of immigrants taking jobs that Americans don't want, sir. Although I cannot think why. You do have a reputation. You know, a lot of people told me, they said, you know, when you're doing this, this is a very tough, a lot of the American comics said it to me. They said they're a tough room. It's full of angry men and disappointed women and disappointed men and angry women, a lot of surly drunks. I'm thinking, this is perfect. It's like a family reunion. I'll do it. A reporter from what's the name of that paper? The Mound? The Hill. A reporter from The Hill said to me, when you come to D.C., do you want to be funny or do you want to be liked? I know. I said I'd settle for either. Anyway, there's very controversial speeches being made here. The most famous, of course, in 1996, I think, when cheeky comedy racist Don Imus cussed in front of the First Lady, I believe, which is it was a terrible faux pas. Never cuss in front of the First Lady. Always wait until she cusses first. That's the way it's done. So rest assured, I'll be working clean here tonight, unless you give me the nod, Mrs. B, and then all hell will break loose. I'm telling you. I don't know. C-SPAN have got a camera in here. I better not. It's a great honour for me to be asked to speak here. Doubly so for me because I just became an American citizen. Now, I thank you. It's really the end of our run. I'm very happy to be here. Now, you realize, of course, that means that I'm American by choice. I'm not like you guys. You wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I think I'll exercise my civil and religious freedoms without fear of incarceration or repression today. I think I'll complain today. I had to fill in a lot of paperwork before I could do that. I had to lie about my past. I had to pass a test to be an American. And I wonder sometimes how many of the journalists and politicians in this room would pass that test. Like if the INS just suddenly circled this room right now and said, "Pop quiz, everybody." There'll be a lot of you people trying to get over the fence from this side. Enjoy your taquitos, amigos. Now, although I'm an American now, I'm originally from a town called Glasgow in Scotland. Yes, you've obviously never been there. Glasgow, if you don't know, if you imagine the movie Braveheart set in Detroit in the 1970s, it'll give you a fair idea of what the town is like. Lots of violence and polyester. It's sort of a it's like a medieval version of Starsky and Hutch. They are very, very, very tough people. They're extremely tough people. You'll appreciate so. You're famously tough on terrorists. The recent Al-Qaeda attack at Glasgow Airport, the terrorist drove a flaming SUV into the airport and he got out. He was on fire. The Scottish security guard ran over, started beating the crap out of me. He didn't even put him out. He didn't even douse him. He's punching him in the guy. Like, "I'm on fire." He said, "You should have thought of that before, shouldn't you?" Someone got a photograph of this. They blew it up. They put it up in the airport. Underneath it says, "Welcome to Scotland." They're very tough people. I love, though, here's what I love about Al-Qaeda. There's a phrase you don't hear often, but here's another. Al-Qaeda tried to take a religious war to Scotland. You're 1,000 years too late. And you don't have a soccer team. Go home. I love when they caught this terrorist as well. They caught him within about 9 hours. They had the entire terrorist cell. Because this one terrorist had been questioned by Glasgow police officers. I have been questioned by Glasgow police officers. I would tell them Betty White was in Al-Qaeda if that's what they wanted. And I used to be, she may be. I used to be tough. I'm not tough anymore, of course. I live in Los Angeles. I'm all lactose intolerant into the Kabbalah and everything. I travel the world adopting babies. I solve international crisis with my celebrity. Stop war! The beautiful infidel is right. Let us put down our weapons. What were we thinking? Let us moisturize and text each other. I like living in LA, though, I have to tell you, because I do love America. And LA is a very short commute to America. It's like half an hour on the plane, boom, you're right there. And I hear a lot of people, usually native-born Americans, I have to tell you, usually the children of the wealthy, who say, you know, with their, "America sucks, man, we totally suck, we suck." And I'm thinking, you know what, Junior, you know why you're talking like that? Because you haven't traveled enough. Do what I did. Put on your little backpack and travel around Europe, check out the competition, see how much we suck. Spend half an hour of your life in, I don't know, Belgium. Any Belgians in? Fine, let's go after those bastards then. Who do they think they are? Those Belgians with their delicious chocolate and their waffles. Screw those people. Belgium, why, they're the Canada of France. There, I said it. Someone had to say it, and I said it. No disrespect to our Canadian friends, by the way. I love the Canadians. I do. They're lovely people. They're our civilized neighbours to the north. In fact, before I emigrated to America, a lot of people in the old country said, "Why don't you go to Canada, Craig? A lot of Scottish people in Canada." I said, "I know. That's kind of why I've made my choices. I'm going to be American." And to me, no disrespect to the Canadians, I love them, but to me, Canada, it's not the party. It's the apartment above the party. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's nice, it's good, it's well decorated, but it's the apartment above the party. I mean, we're down here all... And they're up there, "Can you keep the noise down? We're trying to be polite and wear knitwear up here. Keep the noise down." And we're like, "Oh, come to the party, Canada." They're like, "We weren't invited." We're like, "Mexico wasn't invited. They came. Come to the party." There's a lot of Secret Service in here, right? Yeah, okay, good. Now, I am a new American, of course, and I don't know who to vote for. This is my first presidential election this November. And I thought, rather than decide, you know, in the anonymity, as is my right as an American, I thought, why not ask you people tonight? Who knows more about presidential elections than you guys? So let's just make a bit of noise. Should I vote Republican or Democrat? Republican? That's not bad. Or Democrat? Well, I'd say that puts to bed the myth of liberal media bias, wouldn't you? I have to tell you, since I get the invitation to speak here, everybody says to you, you know, everybody wants to give you advice about how to talk at this dinner. Some people are like, stick it to the man, Craig. Other people are like, don't rock the boat, Craig. Everybody says do political humour, which is, what they mean by that is, do jokes that I agree with politically. And I spoke to a lot of journalists about how I should speak up here, and everyone, all the journalists said, Craig, your duty is speak truth to power. That's what you do. You hold the truth up for everyone to see. That's your job, speak truth to power. And I'm sorry, I don't see it that way. That's your job. You're journalists. I'm a late-night television show guy. I make up crap that isn't true, and then I say it on TV. I'm like Fox News. I'm not a journalist. What? Fox News, of course, now, to be fair, Fox News has my favourite, the gorgeous and smouldering Bill O'Reilly. Man, that is sexy. Bill O'Reilly, who's locked in that feud with Keith Olbermann on MSNBC. The two of them are at it every night, that terrible feud. Everybody thinks they hate each other. You know what I see there? Sexual tension. That's what I say. That's a romantic comedy waiting to happen. You're the worst person in the world. You're liberal yuppie scum. Are you as turned on as I am? You bet I am, mister. Yeah, I feel a little bit sick as well. I don't know why I did that. Now, listen, I realize I am not a journalist, so anything I say is not important. But I want to talk tonight about the respect I have for the American media, you guys. It's your task to watch the government, to make sure they don't exceed their power. Well done on that, by the way, the past 8 years. Yeah, but I wonder who keeps an eye on the journalists when you guys are getting out of line? Who cracks the whip on the media when you guys, well, Dana Perino. You lucky bastards. Hey. Sometimes I'm naughty too, Dana. Of course, not just electronic media here tonight. We have the print media here. I had the honour of chatting with several editors of large newspapers before I came out. You thought waterboarding was torture? I've heard that the print journalists were the most bitter and jaded of all, but that doesn't seem to be true. They seem quite perky. The reporters from my own hometown paper, the LA Times, made it into the room tonight, even after the cutbacks. They'll be pouring the coffee once I get done. Be nice to them, because some of these guys have got families. Also, the New York Times. The New York Times, unfortunately, did not buy a table. They feel, I just want to make sure I get this right, they felt that this event undercuts the credibility of the press. It's funny, you see, I thought that Jason Blair and Judy Miller took care of that. What? What did I say? What did I say? Did I go too far? Well, let me try this. Shut the hell up, New York Times, you sanctimonious, whining jerks. Look for my good review there coming up soon. I'm guessing Monday morning. He's a star! I also, by the way, I would like to thank the lovely Maureen Dowd of the New York Times for recommending me for this job and then having the foresight not to turn up when I got it. Thank you, Maureen. There's one person who's not here tonight, and I'm a little bit sad about it. I was looking forward to meeting this fella. Look, this guy, he typified for me in the Bush regime the relationship that the government had with the press. No disrespect to anyone here, but I'm talking, of course, of Donald Rumsfeld, old Rummy, or Gin Rummy, as some call him. This is a guy who had character, he had drive. I used to watch his press conferences and laugh my ass off. I mean, really, he was just wonderful. For you tonight, I put together a few clips of some of the greatest Donald Rumsfeld moments. Please look at your monitors.
You've talked about it a lot from the podium. Larry DeRita said yesterday,
When the Pentagon's recommendations initially came out, you had said that you hadn't made changes to those recommendations, if I recall correctly. And the message that many of us drew from that was that you wanted the Commission not to make major changes to that list. Traditionally, they've made about 15% changes on the closures, and they've questioned a number of things, including cost saving.
Actually, General Myers made similar references to the failings of the insurgency, including their failure to garner public support. And yet, this far into the operation, the insurgency has managed to sustain itself. Does this suggest a lack of understanding on your part of what the insurgency is about?
The great Donald Rumsfeld. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry he's not here tonight. I'm not really. Yeah, I know, I am. He's off, Donald is not here tonight. He's off writing his book, which apparently starts off really well but has no real end in sight. Oh, don't ooh me. It's America. I can say what I like. This is an election year, of course, and as you pointed out, sir, none of the candidates thought you guys were important enough for them to turn up. Hillary Clinton not here, although that's fine. She can say she was. On-again, off-again boyfriend Bill, also not here. He's probably making a speech somewhere. You know, Bill Clinton charges $500,000 to give a speech. $500,000. Or he'll talk dirty for free, but $500,000 to give a... Obama not here, which scares me. I tell you why Obama scares me a little bit. He's too clean. You know, he's cleaner than your shotgun, sir. He's a very... We need more dirt on him. I think we need Karl Rove to get those guys that work for him to dig up the dirt. Who are those guys that work for Karl Rove again? Demons. The demons that work for Karl Rove. Barack and Hillary, of course, are locked in that mortal combat for the nomination of the Democratic Party at the moment. And I think some of these debates are getting very, very passive-aggressive. A lot of sneaky tactics going on. Stuff that I don't think it... Well, take a look at this. You'll see what I mean. Have a look at this.
Not releasing, I think, these records. At the same time, Hillary, as you're making the claim that this is the basis for your experience, I think is a problem. Part of what we have to do is invite the American people back to participate in the government. Part of what we need to do is rebuild trust in our government again.
I mean, that's bad. That's just naughty and wrong. That was me being naughty there, Dana. I did that. Listen, I don't envy the person who wins the Democratic nomination because they, of course, he or she will face the full force of the Republican attack machine come the election. You know, Bill Kristol, Bob Novak, George Stephanopoulos. What? I'm just reporting the facts. Also, they'll have to face Senator McCain, another man who I think is a little too clean. I mean, all we've got on him, he's old. That's not really enough. He's old. I mean, we all know he risked his life in defense of this nation in Vietnam. Before that, the Vikings, they would be all over here if it wasn't for him. Pterodactyls, he fought them. Depending on your belief system, dinosaurs. I don't know. Earlier this year, though, there were rumblings that John McCain would not be able to run for president because he wasn't born in this country, which I think is really, that's not fair, because when John McCain was born, America hadn't been discovered. So I don't really think that works out. Tonight, though, we mark the end of an era, sir. George W. Bush is leaving in 8 months. The Vice President is already moving out of his residence. It takes longer than you think to pack up an entire dungeon. You told me yourself. Tonight is the last time President Bush will be attending this dinner, something he and I have in common. Of course, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'd love to come back if you'd have me. Okay, forget it. No, it's all right. Well, you could come back, actually, sir. You could come back if Mrs. Bush ran for the president, if you became president. Yeah, well, it could happen. A first lady, a former first lady could become president. It could happen. It's not going to happen this year, but it could happen at some point. I'm just predicting. It will be, though. It will be a bittersweet day in January, sir, when you leave the White House. I remember 8 years ago when you said you were going to return dignity to the White House. And by the way, I thought you were fantastic on Deal or No Deal. That was just... Don't you shrug me. You were on Deal or No Deal. I saw you. During your administration, though, there was not one single sex scandal in the White House. Not one, except the time when Barney humped the Pope's leg. But he's one of these things. Oh, man, that's encouraging. All right, I tell you what. You are retiring as a young man, though, sir. You're retiring as a young man. What does a president do when he retires? You could look for a job with more vacation time. See what I did? See what I did? Now listen, I want to just be serious with you just for a second. I haven't been in Washington very long, but I've been here long enough to know that it's full of people who disagree on everything, from how to balance the budget to what tie is the most patriotic. You people can't agree on anything. The president doesn't like the press doesn't like the president, everybody hates Cheney. Cheney loves that and thinks it's cool. I mean, that's weird. I mean, that's kind of pervy, if you don't mind me saying so. But what I'm saying is this. I knew that when I came here that this room would be full of contentious and contrary people who argue all the time. And may I remind you, as a new American, we need that. That's what this place is all about. So please, never, ever, ever agree with each other. Never stop arguing. Never stop fighting, you cranky, magnificent bastards. God bless you and God bless America, everyone.